Is it the end of bulking? Is your winter arc over? As a long-time advocate of the dirty bulk during my teenage bodybuilding years, if you can call it that, not for my health, but they were good days. Anyone that has done a dirty bulk or bulked hard in the past knows that feeling of loving eating the food and then feeling absolutely horrific afterwards. Either way, those were certainly the days. Let me explain why bulking isn't necessary for muscle growth and why I don't force my clients who want to gain muscle into a horrific calorie surplus, let alone eating a calorie surplus at all. I'm gonna try and not sit here and yap on about sciencey stuff that you don't really care about. Instead, I want to provide you with simple information to give you the why this is going on and what you can do to get the best results and not waste your time. Simple as. Let's understand some key principles. First, TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure. This is effectively exactly the same as your maintenance calories. This is the amount of calories that you need to consume on a daily basis in order to function, move around, and maintain your body weight. If you are eating maintenance calories or meeting your TDEE, you will not be storing energy you consume as fat. In the same way, you will not need to go to your fat stores to use energy to exist. Now, if you go into a calorie deficit, you are eating less than your body needs to function on a daily basis. Therefore, your body will go to fat stores in order to use energy. And on the flip side, if you enter a calorie surplus and you eat more energy than your body needs, you will then store that energy as fat in your fat stores, which results in weight gain. First of all, what is bulking? Bulking is simply eating in a calorie surplus in order to gain muscle. Typically, people tend to consume 10 to 20% more calories than they need every day in order to assure they are in a calorie surplus. This tends to result in muscle gain, but also some fairly substantial fat gain. It has always been the belief that because calorie deficit equals weight loss or fat loss, then calorie surplus must equal muscle gain. And this isn't exactly true. Where a calorie surplus does mean weight gain, it does not necessarily mean muscle gain. And this assumption that we need to be in a calorie surplus in order to gain muscle is far from the truth as far as the science is concerned. We do not know the exact amount of calories that we need in order to gain muscle because we don't gain muscle at a consistent rate. And not only that, there are so many variables that contribute to your rate of muscle gain, such as your training experience. We know that newbies in the gym get gains quicker, something called newbie gains. This is quite literally a thing. If you have no muscle on you, you might respond to stimulus pretty damn quickly. Whereas someone who's been in the gym for a very long time, an experienced lifter, might actually find that their rate of muscle gain is far lower than someone who has just started off in the gym. And that is a massive variable. You also have tons of other factors that contribute to muscle gain, like your sleep, your recovery, your nutrition, your genetics, your stress level, your training frequency, your training style, your training intensity. And hate to always go on about gut health, but this might also play a pretty interesting factor in your ability to gain muscle. But more on that in another video. Put it this way, if it was as simple as calorie surplus equals muscle gain, then those factors I just mentioned would be totally insignificant, which they're not. Let's assume for the sake of the video that a calorie surplus or bulking is the most important factor when it comes to muscle gain. The issue is that there is still one massive key consideration, which is that if you enter a calorie surplus or you start bulking without stimulating your muscle, i.e. going to the gym, then you won't gain any muscle, despite being in a calorie surplus. So now actually you have these two factors that contribute to muscle gain. You have calorie surplus plus muscle stimulus, or gym, equals gains. However, we know that you can gain muscle without a calorie surplus. You can actually gain muscle at maintenance and even in a deficit, albeit less muscle. Also, if you scrap the muscle stimulus bit and you go into a calorie surplus without muscle stimulus, then all you gain is body fat, which is fairly self-explanatory. So it's pretty clear which out of these two factors is more important for muscle gain. So your maintenance calories are directly correlated with your body weight. So if your body weight goes up, you'll actually need to eat more calories to sustain that body weight because you're physically heavier, so you carry more weight, thus you burn more calories. In the same way, when you lose weight, you weigh less and you burn less calories. Remember that, it's really flipping important. So riddle me this, if you're bulking and gaining excess body fat as a result, this means that your body is consuming too many calories than it actually needs. And your body literally cannot use up all those calories. By definition, a calorie surplus means you're getting too many calories in than your body knows what to do with, including the calories your body needs to help you gain muscle. In other words, those extra calories you're consuming on your bulk are effectively useless. And all of that extra food that you're cramming in by adding olive oil to your protein shakes and scooping peanut butter before bed, or whatever the hell you're doing, is effectively wasted time, money, and effort. And comfort, I imagine, as well. I remember feeling incredibly uncomfortable when I was eating like 6,000 calories a day. So it's effectively pointless for those reasons. But not only that, bulking means that you need to do a cut or a calorie deficit / weight loss phase in order to actually see your muscles at the end of the process. And we know that being in a calorie deficit really isn't great for muscle gain. So you are quite literally shooting yourself in the foot in the long run. So is bulking pointless for everyone? Kind of, not really. If you're at a healthy body weight, bulking is probably pointless and you definitely don't need to do it. And I'll walk you through exactly how you should best do it in just a second. Look, if you're very, very skinny and you've been trying to gain muscle for a very long period of time and nothing's working, then yes, definitely increase your calories. That is going to help a lot. Sometimes bulking can really help those people. But bear in mind that there is absolutely a threshold. We can very clearly see in studies that when you reach a certain point, you're just gaining fat mass. You're not gaining any additional ability to gain muscle any quicker than someone that was on less calories, if you see what I mean. Yes, I suppose you could make the argument that bulking is quite a useful insurance policy to make sure your muscles always have the calories they need to grow sustainably, but it's very, very hard to actually do that properly without gaining unwanted body fat. So what's the point if you don't need to? Because again, you're still gonna have to do a cut or a calorie deficit at some point, and you're still wasting money on food that you don't really need. If bulking isn't the best way of gaining muscle, what on earth should you do? So I'm going to tell you exactly what I do with my clients to help them gain a lot of muscle with ease. And of course I would advise you do the same because I know it works. We aim to find the sweet spot, i.e. the bare minimum amount of calories they need to be at in order to be gaining muscle. First of all, we simply calculate their maintenance calories, and that is their starting point. And for many of my clients that are quite new to training, maintenance calories is absolutely ample to gain a nice amount of muscle. And from then on, we simply play it by ear. If I notice that the client's performance drops a bit, let's say their recovery drops, they start losing energy, or even they start losing body weight, that, amongst other things, can be a very good indication that the client has gained enough muscle to actually increase their TDEE. Their maintenance calories have in fact come up because they're now carrying more weight in the form of muscle. So we simply bring up their calories accordingly, aiming to make the minimum necessary adjustment to keep the client in a muscle building range without gaining excess body fat. And it works really, really well. And this is literally why bulking is pointless for the vast majority of people. You can achieve the exact same and achieve that upper limit of muscle gain without gaining excess body fat and without needing to eat an obscene amount of calories that you simply don't want to eat. And you don't even need to do a cut at the end of it because you can just quite literally steadily gain muscle over a nice consistent period of time. Simples. Now I hope this video has provided you with a ton of foundational knowledge on how best to go about your muscle gain journey. I do also understand that the process can be an absolute hassle. It can be really hard to do this by yourself, particularly as it is not as simple as just Googling your maintenance calories and just sticking to them and hoping for the best, right? We need to make quite a few adjustments over the course of your overall journey, as well as addressing for things like overall nutrition, dialing in a really good training program that suits your needs and your goals, as well as optimizing things like sleep and maybe some supplements as well. Which is why getting a coach to do all of this for you can be a really flipping good idea. Yeah, really subtle, mate. Yeah, link in bio for one-to-one coaching. Subtle. Anyway, folks, that is all I've got for you today. Bulking is officially out. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you next week.